Howdy, hello, how are we doing, everybody? Guys, was that not sick? It's pretty awesome to say the least. Like, anime fighting game, you kind of need an anime intro. So when I saw that they had that, I was like, dude, the camera was spinning and everybody was fighting. It's just too powerful. So thanks everybody for showing up to the panel. Did you guys have fun watching Wolverine stuff? Pretty dope. Pretty dope. We have some more Wolverine for you today, obviously, in this game as well. You got to see the official first look at the opening anime. This is also going to go up on YouTube, so if you want to rewatch it, see where all your favorite characters and stuff are like that, you guys can take a look. But are we ready to welcome our panelists here for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls? Glad to hear. It's been a big year for the game. Obviously, it's going to be coming out very soon. As many of you know, it's playable here at San Diego Comic-Con, so if you're interested, you can definitely play it here. It's also going to be available tonight as our panelists are coming out to the stage. Everybody, please welcome them to the stage. Can we make a round of applause for our lovely panelists coming up to the stage, of course. The game is playable in beta tonight, starting at midnight, and I would love to introduce our lovely panelists who are coming out here to say hello to you all. We have a really, really awesome panel. We have a lot to talk about the game's story and all the cool stuff going on. So down the line here, I'll start with our games producer from Arc System Works. This is, of course, Takeshi Yamanaka-san. And obviously, right next to him, we have the localization director from Arc System Works, Amber Sykes. Famed Marvel comic artist and Knights of Doom illustrator, Mike Diodato. We have Marvel Games producer, Michael Francisco. And you're probably already familiar, the voice actor for both Spider-Man and Iron Man in this game, Josh Keaton. So thanks to all of you for coming out and joining us on this panel. Obviously, we have a lot of people involved in the art, the voice, visualizing and creating this game from conception. So one more round of applause for our panelists as we get started here, obviously. So you guys can take your seats and let's jump in. So first thing I want to talk about, we all just saw the trailer, right? We just saw what was going on with the story mode. It looks awesome, it looks amazing, and I just wanted to ask right away for Yamanaka-san, there's this sick anime trailer you guys have going on there and stuff. It's an anime fighting game. It needs an anime intro. We all know this is how this works. So how did that all come together and who's working on it?
はい、今ですね、先ほど、流させていただいたのが、マーベル・トーコン・ファイティング・ソウルズのオープニング映像になります。で、最近のですね、格闘ゲーム、あんまりオープニング映像を作らないことが多いんですけど、私はですね、もうこのタイトル絶対オープニング映像を作ってやるぞと意気込んで、ようやく発表できました。
So what you just saw was the opening footage for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, the opening animation. I think actually in recent years there haven't been many fighting games that have included opening animations, but for this title I was really determined, I really wanted to include that as part of the game, and I'm happy that we were finally able to share that with all of you today.
はい、Thank you. アニメーションの制作はですね、日本のアニメ会社、3次元さんと一緒に、作りまして、監督鈴木大輔監督、すごくマーベルの大ファンだということで、すごくですね、楽しみながら作ってくれました。
And the opening animation was handled by the Japanese animation studio Sanjigen, and within the studio, the director was also a huge fan. Suzuki Daisuke, the director, was a huge fan of Marvel himself, so he really had a lot of fun working on this project.
はい。そしてオープニング映像で流れた曲なんですけれども、主題歌、メインテーマの曲となります「ストロンガー・アズ・ワン」という曲で、ボーカルにはですね、日本のレジェンドロックシンガー、女性シンガーの庄屋の寺田恵子さん、そしてバンドネモフィラのまゆさんというアーティストの2人でツインボーカルを務めていただきました。
And the opening song that you heard is called Stronger as One, and for this song we worked on for the vocals. One of the vocalists from the legendary Japanese female rock band Jishoya, Terada Keiko, as well as from the band Nemophilia Mai. Those two came together to work on the vocals for us.
はい、オープニング映像の方は皆さんいかがだったでしょうか。主題歌の方はですね、なんと今日の21時9時からですね、夜の9時から西海岸時間の9時からですね、各種配信サイトからリリースされますので、ぜひ皆さん聴いてください。
And actually, the opening song will be available to listen to on streaming platforms at 9 p.m. tonight, West Coast time. So I hope that you all give it a listen.
There you have it. Obviously, the anime intro, very cool. And I'm sure everybody's going to be digging through it to see all the little details and stuff of what's going on in the story. But I wanted to ask, speaking of which, you guys have worked on this, and Arc System Works has made many beloved fighting games over the years, and I'm sure many of you have seen or played them before. But what made the opportunity to build a Marvel fighting game in particular so compelling for you guys and so exciting?
そうですね、とにかく本当に皆さん大好きなマーベルということで世界的に認知度が高くて、でご存知だと思いますけども、格闘ゲームとしてはですね、大先輩のタイトルがありました。我々それを意識せざるはもちろん得なかったんですけれども、その中でそのアークシステムワークスらしい、アニメーションだったり、ケレン味だったりっていうのをどこでこう出していこうかなっていうところをですね、とにかくスタッフ一同で頭を悩ませつつ楽しみながら作らせていただきました。
When it comes to Marvel, it's of course a very beloved IP for people all over the world. We know how important it is to everybody. And within fighting games in particular, there's a long history, as I'm sure many of you are familiar of, with Marvel fighting games. So we do have to, of course, keep all of that in mind when we approach this topic. So the team, we all come together and we thought, how can we respect all of that love and the history of this IP, while also including things in various aspects of the game, such as the animations, to really make it still feel like Arc System Works. And that was a really challenging but fun process for us.
For sure. And what made you decide to go with episode mode and like sort of the comic feel that we see, right? Obviously, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the story mode stuff yet, but it's literally a living, breathing comic book that you're like flipping through and then fighting in between. So what was sort of the inspiration for that?
はい、このマーベル闘魂のお話をですね、ソニーさんからいただいたときに、もちろん格闘ゲームとしてしっかりとしたものを作るっていうのは当たり前なんですけども、やはりマーベルのファンの方にですね、このマーベル闘魂としてのナラティブですね、世界観であったりストーリーっていうのをお届けしたいと思っていました。
When Marvel approached us with this project, we did of course want to focus on making it incredible as a fighting game, but we also wanted to see Marvel Tokon itself become its own narrative within the Marvel universe.
はい、でストーリーの表現っていろんなやり方があると思うんですけども、やはりですね、この日本の漫画、アニメ、そして、アメリカが誇るアメリカンコミックスというのをうまく融合させて、それをですね、ゲームに落とし込んだらどうなるだろうっていうのを、私考えまして、最終的にこのモーションコミックスという手法にたどり着きました。
And I think there's a lot of different approaches that you could take to how to actually portray a story like this. And for me, I wanted to consider Japanese manga and anime, and then also, of course, America with American comics and the style there, and try to find a way to merge those two, fuse those two different approaches together, and see what that would look like in the format of a video game. And that's what led to the episode mode as you see it now.
はい、でゲーム上でのですねモーションコミックスというのはすごくですね、いいところがありまして、もちろんその絵を見ることと、音を聞くことですね、SE、BGM、そして、ボイス、そしてですね今回、プレイステーション5のハプティクス機能ですね、コントローラーの振動だとかを用いて、ここに、没入感の高いストーリー体験というのを作れたと思ってますので、皆さんぜひ楽しみにお待ちください。
And one thing that I think is especially great about the episode mode this time is that, of course, in addition to looking at the visuals and hearing the sounds, the sound effect, the music, the voice acting, also with the help of the PlayStation 5, we've been able to use the haptics features to create an even more immersive experience. So I do hope you all check it out and look out for that in particular.
はい、そして実はですね、今日の夜ですね、西海岸の0時からですね、オープンベータが開始されまして、このエピソードモードの一部、ガーディアンズ、アミージングガーディアンズの、シナリオのチャプター3までが体験することができますので、ぜひそちらダウンロードして、参加していただければと思います。もちろん無料でお楽しみいただけます。
And actually, in the open beta that's starting from midnight West Coast time tonight, you'll be able to experience a part of the episode mode. So the Amazing Guardians episodes from chapter 1 to chapter 3, you'll be able to experience that as part of the open beta. And of course, it's completely free, so definitely give it a try.
ちょっと私ばっかり喋っててもあれなんですけども、今回こういった形でマーベル闘魂エピソードモードですね、非常にハイレベルなモーションコミックスという形で表現させていただきまして、その中でですねさまざまなアーティストの方にですねお手伝いいただきました。やはりシナリオをまずですねキーロン・ギレン先生にお願いしまして、そこからですね、上がってきたシナリオ、特に、ナイツ・オブ・ドゥームがですね非常に面白い重厚感のあるシナリオだったので、 どんな方にですねコミックス書いていただこうかなって時にマーベルの方からマイク先生をご紹介いただきまして、もう一目で見てスタッフそうですね、スタッフみんながですね、これはマイク先生の絵が一番合うでしょうということで、マイク先生にお願いすることになりました。
And when it came to creating this episode mode, it comes together thanks to all of the amazing work of the artists who put together the illustrations as part of the episode mode, as well as, of course, our amazing writer, Kieran Gillen, who put together the stories, the scripts for all of the episodes. And especially, I think that the Knights of Doom story that he wrote is really interesting. And when we were considering what artists we wanted to work with for the Knights of Doom story, Marvel suggested to us Mike. We saw his art at the team, and we all were like, oh, this has to be it. This is the perfect choice.
そして、最終的にですね、日本語、英語含めてですね、全10言語での、ボイスオーバーを用意しました。モーションコミックスで、かつこのゲーム上で行われるモーションコミックスという形で非常にちょっと特殊な形だったんですが、収録とかもろもろ含めて、ジョシュさんいかがでしたか？
And within Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, we have 10 voice languages supported, including Japanese and English. And it's a very unique situation for the voice acting where it's not only a motion comic, but it also has to be playable in the game, which led to a lot of interesting challenges. And I'd like to hear from Josh about what the experience was like providing the voice work.
Well, first of all, going back to what we were talking about motion comics, this is that's something that's not really new to me. Like I've made some of these motion comics just informally for the love of Spidey, where somebody asked me about doing a comic read via Cameo, or the executive producer and creator of Spectacular Spider-Man had a comic series out. I did some motion comics for him, and I didn't know this, but the Marvel people and the Arxis people actually saw these, and
we had a playlist on loop, buddy.
That's amazing. So this thing that I just did sitting at my computer was something that actually hopefully maybe helped get me this job, which is incredible. But it was definitely a process to do, not so much the motion comic stuff. The motion comic stuff I feel like felt very organic. It felt very much like any kind of a standard voiceover session that I would have done. But what was more of a challenge was there's so much dialogue in the game in terms of fighting taunts, quips, efforts, all of that. And a lot of it was originally recorded in Japanese first. And because it's a fighting game and timing is so critical and impeccable, it has to be impeccable, that it has to match. So whether or not the quip is translated from Japanese to English, whatever it is has to match within, I think it was like 10 frames or 20 frames, and that's, you're really struggling to hit this tiny window. So obviously, since you're translating between languages, not everything really translates perfectly. Some quips that are really funny in Japanese don't really make the funny when it translates over to English. So we were, Amber and I were in the sessions kind of adapting these on the fly. And so there are some lines in there, I don't remember them, but there's some lines in there that came out of my brain. There's some that came out of some of our voice directors' brains. But it was a really nice collaborative effort to really get the localization right.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that, Amber. So you are the localization director. When you're working on someone like Spider-Man and Iron Man, obviously, who Josh is playing, like how do you translate from the Japanese to billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, and stuff like that for Iron Man? It must be challenging to go back and forth.
There's definitely a lot of challenges on this project, especially at Arc System Works. We're really used to working from Japanese to English, which is what I would normally be doing for other projects. But for this project, actually, even for the battle dialogue, we worked with our writer Kieran Gillen, who helped us out a lot to create like a base English script, which was then localized into Japanese. But then, as Josh mentioned, we actually recorded the Japanese first, so we ended up having to kind of time it to the Japanese. It was quite a process, and it's interesting. The kind of culturally, the interpretations of the characters in Japanese can be quite different, as well as linguistically, kind of the speed of the language. There's a lot of things like that we have to work around. So for a character like Spider-Man, he has to talk really fast in order for him to sound like Spider-Man in English, but then we have a lot of extra time that we need to make up for the Japanese. So we would do things like Josh mentioned, come up with quips, add in things where we can. It was a really interesting process. Thanks to the patience of the amazing voice cast, we were able to make it work, but yeah, it was quite a challenge. Very fun though.
Yeah, and the game has 10 languages as well, so I can only imagine the difficulty of like translating and getting all the people to work on all these scripts and everything. It must be super challenging. But going back to what the story mode we were talking about a little bit earlier, I wanted to ask Michael, you know, when you guys are working on something like this, right? You have a Marvel video game, there's so many different places you can take this. Sort of, where did the initial vision for the story mode for this game start, and what did you think, like, what villain are we gonna have? Like, how are we gonna get involved in this? What do we wanna put in this? You know, how do we put our own spin on this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sejam. I think every great Marvel game, the story starts with your big bad, the person who motivates everyone into action, and then the core gameplay mechanics. So that's how we landed on Champion. He's kind of obscure enough for Arc System Works to reinvent the character, and hopefully that becomes the definitive version. And also, the Champion is an elder god that is obsessed with fighting. That just keeps him immortal. So he's mastered every fighting style across the cosmos. And he just embodies the core values of a fighting game, which are like hype, competition, and never giving up. If you read his first appearance, I think that's Marvel 2-in-1 Annual by Tom DeFalco and Ron Wilson, that became our blueprint for a tournament arc that artists could reimagine in their own lens. The second thing that I mentioned was the core gameplay. We like to say that at Marvel Games, the fantasy of Marvel is to assemble, to bring together different types of people from different walks of life, different powers, different personalities, different worldviews, and somehow make them work together as a team. In Marvel Tokon, you have to build a team of 4, unique teams of characters that maybe never synergized before, never even met before. So we thought, okay, you have the Champion, you have Assemble as a mechanic. When you mix that all together, you get this anime tournament arc in which you follow 5 team captains, and they're scrambling to build a team strong enough to take on this guy named the Champion. And we feel like that's really interesting, because like, how does a guy like Dr. Doom build a team? He's got no friends. So, you know, I would love to ask actually our resident villain expert, Mike Diodato over here, like what he thought about the story, because you know, you've drawn Dark Avengers, Original Sin, Old Man Logan, so you have a unique perspective.
Thunderbolts too, yeah, I'm kind of a villain expert. But yeah, I thought it was great how they interact, how he managed to get them to cooperate. But that wasn't the biggest challenge for me in doing the comic, because you know, I had to adapt my storytelling to the Japanese reading flow, because as I'm Western artist, I always compose my pages from left to right, and then I had to learn how to do it the other way around. So that was crazy. I had to rewire my brain, but I had great help from the team. And besides that, it was just to adapt a bit my style, because who knows my work knows that half of my characters are always in shadow. They are always black in shadow. So I thought that would be better for the game to be a bit brighter, and so I could concentrate on details and make every detail to shine, and also give the colorist the opportunity to give some more layer in the art. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I love that visual of like trying to go from right to left, like the manga style difference in this. It is really cool, and if you see the way the episode mode looks, like the panels are just flying at you. It is such a really cool way to do the storytelling for the game. And I was going to ask again for Michael, like when you guys are working on something like this and you have the opportunity to make a Marvel story, you know, what is that kind of unique experience like for you, where you're like, okay, we have a Marvel story, we know what we're going to do with it, and like what is the fun in like playing around with these characters and creating something like that?
Yeah, I think Josh, you touched on it really well. By the way, everyone should check him out on YouTube, because he's got these brilliant, like he mentioned, monologues where he takes comic panels from Spider-Man and acts over them, and he's really like winning the Oscar with them.
Oh, thank you, man.
But like I said, we had a playlist of those in the office, and we thought, wow, maybe Josh could really bring some emotion to this story, because that's what we're really aiming to do with this new type of fighting game story. And really, SageM is our goal is to set the standard for great fighting game stories moving forward. Usually in a fighting game, the real purpose is the story is just a vehicle so that you can gather all your favorite action figures in one playset. And we're still doing that here. We're gonna take all your favorite action figures and cram them into the game. But can we make you laugh? Can we make you cry? Can a fighting game make you cry? That's what we asked ourselves. That was our North Star. And when you really break down a fight is really a clash of ideals. Yes, it's about catching these hands, but it's really a test of values. When two characters in this game interact, they believe that they are the ones that deserve to fight the champion. There's no brainwashing, there's no multiverse, there's nothing that breaks character, and it's just pure conviction. So we thought that really created some compelling drama there. And of course, it's all rendered in a beautiful art style by artists that are at the top of their game, voiced by Josh and crew to bring the characters to life and texture. And we worked with Kieran Gillen, as we mentioned before, a master at capturing characters. So we're really hoping that this is a love letter to comics, manga, and fighting games, all rolled into one.
Our work has defined many iconic Marvel stories. And what was it like working with Arxis in particular? Was the back and forth kind of the same as what you expect? Did they have different looks at what the characters look like that surprised you and stuff like that? What was that process like for Mike? Yes, yeah.
Well, I got these new designs that I thought it was great. So it was kind of something. At the same time, I was feeling coming home again. At the same time, it was some fresh new material, and it was amazing. I was helped by the team all the way down, and they're exchanging ideas all the time, correcting things. But another challenge was the layers. I'll never work with layers again because, one of the tricks we use as an artist, we draw a lot of people and then we hide them behind the others. Not in this game. I had to draw every character alone and then they would group them. So it was kind of hard, but the effort was worth it.
Nice, yeah. And I was gonna say, speaking of all this, we've been talking a lot about the characters so far, a lot about the art, a lot about the awesome people who worked on the story. Josh, you had a chance to work on this story a lot. You obviously voiced two characters in the game. You voiced both Spider-Man and Iron Man, all the men.
All men.
Yeah, that's all you. Yeah. So what was it like jumping in and working on this version of Spider-Man? He's so expressive. He has such a particular look because he's, in the Arxa style, the eyes getting big and everything like that.
I feel like just manga is such a great thing to tie together with Spider-Man because he's so dynamic and because he's so expressive and fluid and it's a beautiful marriage visually. But I also love how his team basically comes together via Parker Luck. It's just kind of this ragtag bunch that literally everybody is betting on them to lose, and it's really up to Peter in this to teach everybody about power and about responsibility, and I haven't really seen this in a fighting game where your fight tutorial is basically a story, where you can go through and you can go through this incredible comic, which it's fan service for comic fans, and by the time you're done, you're playing your character. But it's been great. And then Tony, Tony Snark, sitting in the back, just dishing out sarcasm and being Tony. What was that? What does what sound like? What does Tony sound like? I wish I remembered the lines from this game. This is we were talking about this yesterday, but this was this is probably about a year ago, and we went in and we did how many sessions? It was 20 sessions maybe? Yeah, it was probably 20 sessions. And since it's a fighting game, I mean, there's so many of the lines, there's so many quips and things, and really it's just distilled into going in and doing 4 hours of trash talk a day, which was kind of awesome.
When you were going in for that, were you doing Spider-Man and Iron Man separate, or were you
we
doing
were doing
them
it separately? So the first session was probably the most challenging because that's when we were doing most of the story stuff. So for that, we were doing it all the same day. But it was broken up into chunks. So I did Spider-Man stuff first. Actually, no, I think because Iron Man Yeah, I think we did Iron Man first. I think we did Iron Man first, and then we did Spider-Man. But when it was time for the actual game, the actual fighting part of the game, yeah, we did them all in separate chunks. So there were like, I'd say about 10 sessions. Yeah, they're about equal. So about 10 sessions of Spider-Man, and then 10 sessions of Iron Man. What did we do? We did them. I don't even remember. This is what happens when so much time passes between the sessions and the actual release. But yeah, that way it was easier to keep them separate that way. Because if I'm going in and now having to get into the voice for Iron Man and get into the voice for Spider-Man, there are also different energy levels. I know that for Iron Man, it's through the suit, so it sounds a little bit different. But just to keep them separate, pitch one down a little bit, pitch one up a little bit more, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, makes sense. Is there anything, you saw Spider-Man first glance, he was up there a little while ago. When you first saw him and Arxis' take on him, was there any first initial thoughts that you had that were like, oh man, this is so different?
It was, well, I love the art style, I love his movement. So when I was watching a lot of the gameplay previews, I love how Spider Sense is used in the game as a game mechanic. I've never seen that before. I also love the way his webs are used offensively and defensively and for travel. And the way they're used, how fluidly he can just go from pulling somebody over and then using it to get out over here and then almost use it like a whip. It's all kinds of really, really cool stuff that I know that when I play it, which I'm going to try to play it tonight, I know when I play it, I'm not going to be as good as the previews, but I'm looking forward to practicing because it looks incredible. It looks like it's going to be very satisfying in terms of rewarding your practice at it and getting to see some really incredible combo chains.
Yeah, I mean, he looks amazing. If you haven't seen Spider-Man in the game, the first time they ever showed him off too, it was the Japanese VO. So he had the Spidey sense, and I was like, oh, Japanese Spider-Man, he sounds so awesome. And then I saw the voice cast, and I was like, thank God, Josh came back for Spider-Man. I was so excited. So it's awesome to hear you on the character
Thank you to
again.
Marvel. This was getting it put back on the mask has always been. It's always a dream. It never gets old. It's something that Spidey's my number one. He's always going to be my number one. It's very near and dear to me, and so to just be given that opportunity again, and especially in a game that just looks this jaw-droppingly good.
We all love Spider-Man. Let's be honest. Everybody's a Spider-Man fan. We all know. But we've been talking a lot about this game, what went into all the story aspects of it. Everybody who's worked on this game, from all the writing, from all the art, from the voice acting, from the creative process, from everybody behind it from the very beginning. But before we wrap things up here on our panel, we do have a very special announcement today that the team would like to share with you all, that I think you're all going to be very excited for. And ever since this game was revealed, there's been a character I think a lot of people have been really asking for. They've been like, oh man, this game is so cool, but I would love to see maybe one specific character. They've been all over social media, every Reddit post, Twitter post I've seen, all over the YouTube comments, and they have a teaser for you guys today about the next character joining Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. So there you have it, of course. Phoenix, Cyclops. I saw Cyclops, I got so excited. Obviously, a namesake. People are so excited for that character, of course. But I have to ask for Yamanaka-san, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy, what do you think about this character and how excited are you for him to join the game?
はい、というわけで、マーベルとコンファイティングソウルズ、イヤー1の1キャラクター目として、フェニックス・サイクロプスを発表させていただきました。
Yes, we're very excited to announce Phoenix Cyclops as the first character for the Year 1 DLC of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls.
はい、このキャラクターですね、もともとですね、サイクロプス絶対出そうねって言ってて、でスタッフの中で、ただ、そのままのやつを出しても、ちょっとなかなかあれだよねっていうところで、フェニックス・フォースの力を持ったサイクロプスを出そうという話になりました。ただそうなると、結局、ロースターの X メンのチームにいるのがちょっとストーリー的におかしくなるよねというところで、本当にロースターに入れたかったんですけども、スタッフも泣く泣くですね、イヤー1の方に、の最初のキャラクターとして出させていただきました。
Yes, so of course Cyclops is a character that we wanted to include in the game from the start, but when we were discussing how we would like to portray him in our game, the team had this idea to portray him not as the standard version of Cyclops that most people know, but rather as this Phoenix version of Cyclops. However, given the story, it wouldn't really make sense for him to be a part of the X-Men team in his Phoenix state. So after some consideration, we ended up not including him on the initial roster, even though we really would have liked to, and now we're happy to have him as part of our DLC.
はい、ありがとうございます。Thank you. はい、本日はですね、チラ見せというところで、バトルの詳細とか配信日についてはちょっと後日お知らせさせていただきますけれども、一言だけ、フェリックス・サイクロプスですね、我々アークシステムワークスらしい、本当にこう中二病感満載のすごいかっこいいキャラクターに仕上がってますので、ぜひ、続報をお待ちください。
And of course, further details about things like how he'll play in battle and the release date and things like that will be coming out in the future, so do keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, I do just want to say that I feel that with Phoenix Cyclops, we were really able to capture that Arc System Works style where he's very cool and kind of dark and edgy at the same time, and I think that you'll really enjoy him.
Thank you very much for that. Scott Summers, yeah, I'm excited to see him, of course, and WoW United. So if you're excited to jump into the game, day one, obviously, you can get the Ultimate Edition of the game, which will include Cyclops when he's first available to play, which would be really nice. Also, you get all the cool pre-purchase bonuses you see on the screen there. Howard the Duck is up there. I don't know if you guys saw. It's going to be really awesome, but as long as you have all that Ultimate Edition stuff, you'll be able to play Cyclops when he comes out, which should be amazing. And thanks to our lovely panelists, of course, for giving us all their lovely information, their breakdowns of all the stuff they did, all the hard work into this game. It's only 2 weeks away, which is pretty wild to think about. You know, this game is really soon. Excited to play it, of course. Wolverine is also coming up pretty quickly as well. So a lot of really fun games for Marvel that they've been working on. And because we're just 14 days away from our launch, to celebrate, we have some cool stuff that we're going to show you guys. Of course, we have one final surprise, which is with all the wonderful talent that we've had working on the game, the team is commemorating the countdown to release by revealing a brand new Marvel Tokon illustration created by the renowned Marvel artist and Arc System Works' own talented illustrators. So this one right here, kicking off the countdown to launch, is of course made by Peach Momoko, which a lot of you are probably very familiar with. Amazing artist. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to play both of these characters in the game. Both Magic and Ghost Rider look amazing. And obviously the game is coming out August 6th on the PlayStation 5 as well as on PC. You don't have to wait that long to play it though. If you're here in person at San Diego, you can play the game in the Marquee Ballroom as well. It's available to play here. And if you go home tonight, starting at midnight Pacific time, the open beta is available to download with 16 characters in it that you can go and play. So it should be a really good time. It's gonna be kicking off all the weekend through Sunday. So even if you're here at Comic-Con, head back, get on that hotel Wi-Fi, start downloading the game, you know, boot it up, get some gameplay in, so it should be awesome. So either play it here in person or at the comfort of your own home. And thanks once again. Can we give a round of applause for our lovely panel up here?
Oh, you made me look a photo.
Thanks to all of them for joining us, and thanks to you guys as well. Hopefully you had a lot of fun at this panel as well as the Wolverine one, and you have an amazing San Diego Comic-Con. That's it for us at Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. The game is available in beta tonight, and in just 2 weeks you can play the full game. I'll see you all there. Enjoy your San Diego Comic-Con. We'll catch you guys next time.